All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Jenna Hurst podcast. And we have Joey, yes, we do have Joy and Joey Lundgren here on the podcast today. If I pronounced that correctly, if I didn't, correct me. And I just, what was really showing up in my heart when this whole thing was like Ready Player One, this concept that I keep playing in of like, how do we create this as this concept of like Ready Player One, you ready for your day, that whole energy. I really felt that hopping on this call with you today. And I'm almost ready and I'm here. So that makes me ready enough and ready to pass the mic.
Yeah, thanks, ma'am. Thank you, lady. Yeah, speaking of getting ready, I've been watching yourself get ready, and yeah, looking forward to this conversation. Obviously, let's see, are we ready already? I think we can read what's happening in the scenes of the Matrix. I was actually just listening to you talk with that Craig fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it interesting. He said, "Is there such a thing as a billionaire?" I thought that was actually a really cool kind of interesting angle to call the question, and the assumptions of, well, of course there is, like, and then yeah, but have you ever seen $1 billion though? Like, I definitely have it. Has someone? Maybe, I actually, I'm sure there have been people who have seen $1 million. I feel pretty confident that I was in DC, and maybe even I saw $1 million when I went to the printing press. I might have like seen it,
Yeah. Yeah.
might have, right? But still, though, like these words are like power words, and they're categorical words, and
Yeah.
and uh, some of the things I've been jamming on, and I saw you kind of jam on with me about it too, was these categorical words or something like this, like Israel's doing this, or
Mhm.
United States does that, or we keep selling them weapons. Me and you do not sell people
No,
weapons.
no,
Me and
they're
you.
very their ownership and declaration. Like I do not take those actions today. Yes, and I really see this as actually a breakdown in language in the whole ascension world of like we're all one. Collectively, we are doing this, and it's like there does have to be an oppositional force to what's taking place right now to clear it out. So to just say that no, I'm doing this too, like, and find it in me, it's like I do find it in me, and that doesn't work for me. Like that needs to go away. Like that's not okay. So being able to actually be an oppositional force to cancel it out, I believe is necessary. It's just few in the love and light community want to actually be an oppositional force. They just want to sit back under the tree and wait for eternity.
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
my
I
perspective, I don't want to speak that out over anyone either. So in my world, I'm happy to clear that off the planet today and take responsibility for me creating people in that way too.
Yeah, there is like that element of what I would call like the woo world or the la la land kind
Mm,
of thing, where it's like I remember I used to teach yoga regularly, and I would teach pretty hard classes. And I remember there was this cute young man, and he was afterwards, he was like, I just feel like we don't even need to do anything. And I was like, we just like sweat our asses off, like what do you, like I like A Course in Miracles. There's a cool section called I Need Do Nothing. What a great
mhm.
sentence. And like if you read the whole thing, there's a lot of value to the exploration of what that might mean. And
Mm,
it's both a confirmational and I don't know, opposite of confirmational sentence. I need do nothing means I don't need to do anything. It also means I need to do nothing, meaning
yeah,
like, clear the mind, let it go of things. But
yeah.
just the just so easy to say, I just feel like we don't even need to do anything. I was like, it's
Oh,
cute, this young
so
man.
cute. You actually gave
And
me a really cool picture there. I did a meditation last night and I really got to see the observer in my mind and like who's speaking. And so it's like like if I need to any, whatever that quote is from the mind, it then produces a result that is an oppositional force where it's like if I need do nothing from the observer, I just watch, except I'm going to be taking a lot of action and doing. I'm always doing, like doing is my state of being. So there's no way to not do. It's just going to be like being and doing are the same thing to me. So either way, it was just who's doing the talking, who's doing the awareness, and what level or dimension, or I don't know what lens are you looking through. And we can literally what shows up is lobotomize ourselves in a way and go into that lower
mm,
consciousness and completely forget that we are these higher ascended beings of light who are just watching the game and things play out in the way that they're supposed to, that we really can do nothing about at the end of the day. Like there's not much we can do. It's all set in motion. And learning how to navigate the space between is so much of what I'm up to on this podcast. as I really am desiring to have these, like Craig, the conversation of these unhindered, no holds bar, enlightenment, all the words experience conversations to pluck out what is the goal to then produce results inside of We Are the Full Spectrum, where it's actually tangibly consumable for the masses in regards to mental health systems and jail systems and actually meet people where they're at. So this for me in this podcast is the navigation of all those things. So thank you for being in the space where I could just say that clearly, because I haven't seen that until this very present moment of that showing up. So it's really, I want to be on a call. I want to have a podcast with all my friends. I'm really calling all my friends into that. If you watch this, if we haven't done a podcast yet, I change the world with my friends. I'm only going to consume people's content who are actually on mission with me. And really, like, I'm unfriending people who are a no, because I'm like, you can follow all you want. Like, I change the world with my friends, and the people who are in my world show up and have the courage to do that. And it's a big call and big ask. And I also just want to play at this level.
Wow. Amazing, Jenna. I changed the world with my friends. What a
I
beautiful
do.
statement. My goodness.
Too.
That's really gorgeous, actually.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're quite refreshing this way. And
Oh,
you know, I I'm reminded of I could say definitely one of the reasons I feel so called to be in communication with you. It's like these spiritual statements, they can disembody us. Meanwhile, we're saying them with our bodies, which, it's like, it's fine. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. But like, what hot air is coming out of my mouth as I'm saying that,
yeah. Yeah.
and it's funny, no matter how no matter how sort of like high-minded our words can be. I always think it's really funny to say, hey, but on another side, I got to end and I have to clean it up,
Yeah, exactly,
I could say
exactly.
like, oh, I'm beautiful, hold on, I got to fart, just
Exactly.
like
It's the full
this side.
spectrum.
Yeah, full spec, exactly. And like, I could say I'm definitely like one of the maybe grudges I have is against intellectual dishonesty, like in general, like just knowing that I believe I'm here, like maybe I'm not. I might be asleep in a bed somewhere. That's actually also and intellectually honest to say that maybe I am Joey, the body being called that anyways.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm not actually here. Maybe I'm actually asleep in my hotel room or something like that. But I still know I believe this is true, and it feels like just to deny that is just stupid and dumb. And the levels of intellectual dishonesty or the levels of intellectual honesty that we can parse apart and distinguish in regards to things like categories and communication is we're speaking about it on an individual level, but on like a larger level, I think, I hear people say, let's say that when the Ukrainian war was happening, the kind of in argument with a friend of mine specifically, Putin is doing this. To tell you the truth, like, young men are doing it, in some way. And it would be great if magically no George Bush ever ruled people to do horrible things, and no Putin or no Hitler ever ruled people to do things. But as long as we actually scapegoat a ruler, then that keeps creating the fertile grounds for them. Or if we say, like, I lived in Toronto for a few years, I had a really great manager who taught me a lot of cool things, very smart dude. And one time we were having this cool conversation. He goes, then you guys went and bombed Iraq. And I was like, hold on. Me guys have never bombed anywhere, like me guys have never been to Iraq. I've been to a lot of places and I've done a lot of things, but I've never bombed a place. I've never been to Iraq, technically speaking. He said, well, you know what I mean? I was like, I definitely do know what you mean. For sure. I understand.
Hmm.
And if like, as like, I think there's a part of humans that can identify as a group, and that maybe that's a nature of nature. Like, and it's
Hmm.
not, I don't know how to get that out. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if we can get that out, but as long as we scapegoat a whole nation, it'll either make us as a group feel ashamed of what we are, or defend stupidity and horrorness, and
Yeah.
it creates the fertile grounds for it to keep happening.
I will say that what I've shifted into for this is empowering context is I can take responsibility, and literally, like, I have privilege, I know and say and see that. And so there is this ultimate responsibility that I'm dancing with. I don't have the language per se. That is, yes, because I am white, privileged American woman, I can take responsibility for what was done in this space by being an alchemist to what took place. Like, I can stand in the gap. And because I identify in this space as someone who did this, I can ancestrally be present and listen to the actual impact and what was there and try to be in the dialogue to rectify and account for what did happen. If this did truly happen to someone, those people aren't here to take responsibility. How can I at least stand in the gap to try to remedy any pain that still exists there? Because I do believe it needs to be seen and witnessed, and just living in America, knowing what it's, on the grounds of the whole Native American culture of whatever that took place. And we didn't start the fire is something I like to come back to too. You look, Bible times, everything has been common, where did it start? Where did the first, we can see quote unquote in scripture, but I don't believe that's our answer. We've been killing each other. I want to be done killing each other. How do we do that? That's just what's there. The other one that shows up too is the concept of where people are complaining about the president. And I'm like, how about you live like you're the president today? Why don't you walk in that? If you're having an issue with the president, then you be the president and live in light of that. Like in your world, you're the president. What does that look like? And really this call up and out to truly come out of the shadows and build a world where we exist. Like we are on the sidelines being and not actually creating a world. And I think that's where I get so angsty on the internet and, shaking people is the experience I have of like, how do we do this on the internet? Like we're all in our own little spaces. How do we come together? And I also know we just are so energetically impacted. Trying to alchemize the pain is a whole hot mess of a reality because you start poking into what's not working with some light and it backfires. And so how do we do that in a powerful way?
Yeah. The conversation of privilege and of color, I like I've been around people who were mad at me for being white.
Mhm,
I've been around and I can be like, dude, I'm sorry, like that you're
mhm,
so, upset with some and you have a legitimate reason,
mhm,
whatever it is, even if
mhm,
it's kind of not legitimate, it's
mhm,
still like it's been
mhm,
taught to you at least. And those
mhm,
so there's still something hot underneath there
mhm.
that I
Right,
can
yes.
have compassion for.
Mhm,
Like someone taught you that you think I hate you,
mhm,
like and sometimes it was relatively recently that someone taught
mhm,
you that. Like
mhm,
there are situations that not that long ago people didn't think that I hated them because I'm white. And that's almost like there's certain situations that's like recent like hypnotism that you've been put under.
mhm,
And I can have compassion and care for that. Also, I can be a stand and be like,
mhm,
no, you are actually traumatized against me
mhm,
now,
mhm,
and on some deep level, I'm talking deep, like the surface skin color thing, the best we can say about white or black is that my eyeballs are white and my pupils are black.
mm,
That's yours too, basically,
mhm,
like I'm not white.
mhm,
I'm not white. I'm lots of things. My eyeballs are white, kind.
mhm,
They're a little probably off white or something, and my pupils
mhm.
are black, but yours, and that's like almost the deepest I want to go with that conversation in some way. We can go definitely deeper,
Oh
but there's
yeah.
some way where I would like to stop it there, and I'd like to say, hey, the word race is purposely almost to me it seems obvious that it's like a competition between
Mhm,
skin color. The
mhm,
word race means competition,
mhm,
like in a distinct level, and then where it means mixed up shit is when it comes to this surface skin color thing, and that's where it's like the word doesn't apply. It shouldn't apply to skin color. The word race. The word like it's fine to be in competition with one another. Hey, let's run around the track. Let's see who's
mhm,
faster. Let's
mhm,
play a game. Let's do something. That's not like it's not that competition's a horrible thing, but
mhm,
about skin color thing and about tribal shit.
mhm,
Like we know that that's a competition for who's going to lose fastest, and
mhm.
it's a what is it? It's a no-win game basically.
It really is. And I'll say this, I mean, you just look at historical evolution. While I don't know what the root source of how we all got here evolution-wise, we can look back historically and see our human nature evolving from, before industrial revolution to industrial evolution. Like we can have these very tangible experiences of what happens when people do certain things. And up until now, survival was necessary. If you weren't in survival mode, you die. Like survival was needed. And we've got industrial revolution, we've got the computers, the systems, the things that produce things for us so we don't need slaves to do these things, and slaves didn't start in America. So there's so much there that is this experience of this was culture. We are, I believe, all empowered, maybe not consciously. I do believe all have a doorway to access, especially in America, to be a solution, to remedy and be the other side of whatever that was that got us there. And it's just how do we have these conversations and stay in the room to figure them out without hurting each other so badly that we explode the very thing that we're trying to create. And so that's been much of my sensitivity around the topic, and really hyper responsibility of I'm just going to keep leaning in and being the bad guy and looking like I mess up and being judged and however you want to see me, whatever you want to project on me, like I'm just going to keep showing up until it makes sense and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And I don't want to hurt people in the process. And so I'm such a space of like, share what works for you too. Like my truth plus your truth gets us closer to the capital T truth. So like, that's what's there for me is I can't edit what feels real and authentic. And if you don't edit what feels real and authentic, we will come to a place that's super powerful if we choose to stay in the room and truly commit to your truth is quote unquote the ultimate truth in your world. And we're not going to change each other by forcing you to change your mind outside of it just logically changing. Like I think that's what I really woke up this morning too. Like I want to logically produce results for people to change their objective reality. I don't want to do any more of these head games of manipulating consciousness so that I feel good today. Like I want objective reality that produces objective results in a real objective reality. Kind of that matrix is fun to think about. And I just choose not to, because it's like, what does that actually do for results today? If I just think about being in a bed, being in a dream or whatever, like that does not produce results for me today. That's my experience, at least. I could be wrong.
Yeah, like another, I guess, with what you're just saying there, I noticed that I found that I was in a group experience a few months ago where there was this group think about me that happened. It was one of these intense seminar type things, and it was funny because the week before there was a seminar where there was this opposite group thing, which admittedly I liked better the one before, but there and I didn't know how to handle this group think that was going against me. It really triggered me. It's like nobody can understand you, nobody can feel your heart, and there's like 100 people, and I'm like, well, fine, like okay, like I like all right, like man, like that's a lot of force. Even the leaders were kind of like leaning in. Is it loud, by the way? There's
No,
something
no,
a
no,
family
not at all.
started
No, your audio is
mowing
great.
around here.
No.
Okay, okay. But so I found this really cool thing that I found to be an awesome key. That it was. I'm really glad that there was this great resistance against me
Mhm.
because I went like this, and by the end I was like, hey, I want to take the chance to say something and grant you that everybody in this room is smart enough that you can understand me actually.
Mhm.
It may take you a little while. Sometimes it takes
Mhm.
me to understand some things,
Yeah.
None of you in this room are too stupid to understand me, actually. And I'm valuable enough to understand. Plus, you don't have to agree with me. You
Oh,
may say things that are opposite to me, but I can understand you and you can understand me. And I
yes.
grant that everybody in this room is smart enough to understand me at least.
Oh,
There may be people in this world that aren't.
yes.
And I was like, you can be stubborn enough to say you can't, but I do not believe you.
I
And
refuse to
like
believe that. Yes,
you,
not on my timeline. I feel that
yeah,
that's just a complete antidote solution to everything. Like that just that's what I'm really, and I really see you're committed to this too in language, is this experience of like you can create these literal linguistic frames or sentences that completely collapse an experience you're having, and that it's literally that mathematical, mechanical. You're having an experience, say these words, it goes away, like just like that. And I really see you mastering that. I've been always in pursuit of that and really going into spaces where people come in with problems and you're like, here's the answer. It is a sentence. And it feels really good when you can find them so powerfully. And I believe you are brilliant enough to figure that out. Like that is such a beautiful way to say that. And when you speak to me, there's certain times where I do not get it. And I'm like, I'm going to get that soon. I don't get it yet. And I just know that my body and my cells are transmitting whatever they need to do to get my conscious mind aware of what you're saying. So it might take a couple times. And I'm the one that's responsible for understanding you if I'm interested, authentically interested in understanding what you're saying. If I'm not, you may just be in development too and just need some ears to develop that concept to get to even a more distilled concept. Like you're receiving it too. And I actually had this experience with Aaron today too, because I'll say things that make no sense, and he's just like, I don't get it. I'm confused. And so what I said this morning is like, just say nope, like nope. And I'm like, okay, I'll go work on it some more to like tinker with the words to be able to come back. Like, just say nope, it doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, it's not personal. If you don't understand, that's not a personal offense. It's just simply I'm in development of something beyond language. That's what we're doing. We're literally translating the ineffable into words right now, and that is not an easy feat, and I struggle to see people value it in the amount of energy I put into words on a daily basis.
Uh, I'd say that's cool that you can receive the no. That's
Yep.
cool that you can receive that.
Oh yeah, I love
Like
it.
I think like a lot of people like more likely receive like not yet. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
keep tinkering.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like most people, many people, their sensitivities
Oh yeah.
would be kind of like turned off by no.
Yeah.
I know you're actually sort of like developmentally rare in your capacity to take
Mhm.
cues for pivoting. I know
Yeah.
that's
Thank
true
you.
of you.
It was not something I chose. It was by losing every close person I had, rejecting me in really powerful, loud ways. And so I just taken some big hits. So now I just live like everyone's Simon Cowell, and they just struggle in their own hearts to love in a very compassionate way. So I just have my own shifts that I've been able to hold of they're learning how to be soft and empowered. And so I give them space to lean in and discover that. And I live in very, 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 very powerful people around me. So they're very charged, and I want people to have full self-expression. So if that's like the feeling that comes through and it's really explosive, like I want to be able to be like, okay, I actually got the truth. I think that's why I can handle the note, because it just feels true. They're not editing themselves to account for me. I can like when people just say it like it is, I'm like, oh, it feels so good. And it can often get me confused in spiritual situations too. As people are like, that's not how you should respond. I'm mad. You shouldn't be excited. And I'm like, it's alchemy. I'm literally in opposition of your energy, but that's a whole nother scientific rabbit hole, not for today, probably.
That's another thing I noticed about no is that uh, it's like we're refining one another. You know, you and Aaron are refining one another. Me and you are refining one another. Like, are you sure? Like, hey, that nope isn't it. Like, if you like, let me say what I said one more time, and you find out if I'm sure. Like, there's got to be a yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
like
yeah, there is.
I feel confident that I don't need to rearrange those 5 words that I just said because I know that you're not too stubborn to understand them. The note is a it sometimes it's a stubbornness or
Yes.
it's a oh that's not what my mom said,
Yeah.
or it's a that's not what my
Yes.
side says.
Yes.
My side doesn't say that. So
Yes.
they're it's like the note is like okay, let me keep tinkering myself.
Hmm.
There's a thank you. Like, let me see if I can rearrange that. But hey, I'm gonna challenge you too. Like
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
there's
Yes.
a yet. I swear,
There is. There
I
is a
swear there's a
yes.
yet.
And no is a powerful word. I love it. And what shows up there too is I was literally like, I was receiving it just
Yeah.
intuitively. And I said it and I was like, that made no sense, did it? And I was like, nope. And I was like, yeah, that didn't, I didn't get it either. So we're going to try that again because I do not know what I just said. I'm trying to make it make sense. That is half the time too. And I'll have in these spaces, especially with people who are very authentic, like there is a more authentic truth coming through. And I'm like, it's that Freudian slip concept. I didn't mean to say that. Oh no, I did. That actually was a higher truth. And sometimes it's words that are not even a word. I created a whole nother, I can't even, I'd have to go find it, took a screenshot. That was like a non-dualistic way to say the thing that I was trying to say. I was like, I have never heard this word before. And I Googled it and had ChatGPT to make it up as a definition. And so I'm like, words have all been made up from somewhere. Like I'm allowed to make up words. It's not a
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like why can't I? Why can't I make up words?
Yeah. Another thing about this a little bit is like no, not to stick on that, but I noticed that sometimes I think it's kind of like, hey, uh, how about it's no is a powerful word, and you know, man, that's so funny. This guy started mowing like right there. I don't know if
It's
it's
not
really
picking
loud.
up at all, by the way.
Okay, good.
It's
He's like right there. Like
it's
it's like as
amazing.
I started this thing. So funny.
Technology
But
is so beautiful.
Yeah. So, anyways,
You're doing
that's
great.
cool. It's cool that it's filtering it out, but it's kind of distracting. Yeah. The word.
Oh yeah,
Anyways,
you're
play.
doing an awesome job. I love the extra challenge that you got.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
The
So
next level
yeah,
challenge.
I like the playfulness of, by the way, I heard you say something like you don't do play or something like that, or you
What's
don't do
that?
fun or something like
Well, I
that.
struggle. The concept of fun and play does not translate into my brain at all. Like it's like I literally can't get it. Like I don't get it.
But you're so playful, actually.
Yeah,
You to
it
me
might just
you
be a
are
way
very
of being
playful.
that's normal, and I just haven't had it reflected back to me. And I take it very, like I take life very seriously, so it's hard. And that's just maybe too online. I'm very expressive and playful. In personal reality world, I'm very like uptight and shut down and not very as expressive at all. So I do get into a very different persona online and in chats. Like I'm very expressive, especially based on the energy that you hold in the space you hold. I can be so expressive, and I know like I can just subconsciously feel that. I'm not going to trigger you. There's not anything that's going to happen. I have a much bigger range. The normal human out in reality cannot hold range of expression. So I don't get how to play when I don't have access to the full range is maybe the more accurate truth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it's
I mean,
very
range is to me a big range to play. There's a big
yeah.
range to play, and so about the word no, like, and then about the word about being playful. Like, this is a fun kind of angle. This is where I think that we talk about like the wacky word play. There's like
Mhm.
precise what word ways, and then there's the wacky word ways, which is playing with sound and meaning in creative ways that it's like, can we make up words as we
Mhm.
speak out
Mhm.
them,
Mhm. Mhm.
so
Mhm.
yeah, and then this word no, see, you hear, yes, no,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
like when people say no, when people no, 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 yeah, I know.
Mhm.
Like, there's a way to, if there's some
Mm,
jujitsu
it
kind
is
of games when people
jujitsu.
when
Oh
when
my
people
gosh.
just me when people
Yeah.
just me, it's like, hey, justly or not, I am doing what you're saying, but I'm not just doing that.
Yeah.
I'm doing other things too. You may not be like, someone may not be intentionally trying to paint me into a corner when you're just doing blah blah blah, but effectively that has the effect generally on humans that they'll feel like they're painted in a corner. Now, a
Yes.
way for them to playfully get out of that corner is to say, justly or not, I am doing what you're saying, but I'm not just doing that, or not only doing that, I'm doing other things too.
Yes,
Because
yes,
often when
yes.
people say you're just doing a thing, it's that you are doing that thing, but
And
the box isn't, it shouldn't be put around the person, really, actually.
oh, yes.
And this is some interesting jujitsu too. Same thing
Oh,
with the no and the yes
yeah,
and the no, no,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
fun.
much, so much there. Oh my gosh, I could like jujitsu, that concept you just brought in. Like, I'm so lit up on so many levels. It's so jujitsu. And joust is just what came through when he said just. Like,
Oh yeah,
just is like joust. And it's like, oh, it is that experience of like,
yes.
I get that experience with the word but. Uh, I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen it linguistically. You say one word, but this word, and they're two different things that don't go together, except you've hooked them together and they don't relate. I get so lit up on that one, so big on that one. Either way, I used to be very, very legalistic around it just simply because it hurt my system when people said it. I couldn't get the space to express. And there was so many problems in my life. I was like, I can't handle another problem. So you bringing your problem to me that doesn't exist, I have no space and patience for. So I used to be pretty intense on that one. And I've enlightened a lot and relaxed a lot to be able to just let people be themselves, and that's a whole other thing. Either way, jousting and language. I mean, quite honestly, I live inside of this. I think I've shared it before. The whole I'm a grounded, powerful co-creator. I own my desires, manifest my dreams. One here instantly is like coming up with some sort of micro course around jousting with language. Like I just see us both in really beautiful embodiments of our own ways of how we've navigated. Nagged is the word that I wanted to say there. Just life and death is in the tongue. It truly, truly, truly is. And I really
mm,
see you have an embodied expression that uses language, much like myself, it is an art. And so I'm not going to speak in left brain literal ways all the time. It's intentional, it's a transmission. It's going to be right brained language. And I see people struggle because I say so many words and they're like, you're not in your emotions, or get into your body. I'm like, no, this is the language my body's using. It's intentional. It's not at all what the woo-woo world sees of get into your feels. No, these are my feels just in language. So you read my feels if you want to actually understand my feels. I can tell you my feels are just gonna be underneath what I'm enjoying. And I really love the way you said it too, the need for, we got a 10-minute warning, the need for expression and space where people can be, whether it be theatrical or dramatic or however you see it, where someone has this big expression, uses maybe not literal language of this feels like this. Um, I have a whole, there's a whole thing I won't say here just because it's going online. There's just that need to express it as it feels, which can feel like it's not literal. So I don't know if you're hearing what I'm saying and picking up on what I'm putting down.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think I am for sure. Yeah, that's it's like another thing about all this stuff is that we mentioned the but and the and, so
Mhm.
often obviously and is way more appropriate, but occasionally but is okay, same with should. It's like should and should, sometimes you should,
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes,
sometimes you
and
should.
and often instead of should, you could encourage.
Mm,
I would encourage is a nice, it's so much nicer than should.
yeah, yeah.
More often you should, I would encourage instead of should.
Hmm.
But sometimes it's okay to say, dude, seriously, if you want blah blah blah, I'm telling you, you really should da da da. And what I mean by that is, I would, with all my strength, encourage you to
Yep,
do da 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 da.
yep, 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 yep.
So there's so many dogmas, that people never say but. Yeah, say
Mhm.
but sometimes, and occasionally make your butt real fucking big, like,
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
We do have
occasionally,
a problem here, and these things do not relate together, and I don't care. Thank you for that.
yeah,
That was something that I actually had like a shower download of, like, you are allowed to say the word. I'm like, okay, I will say the word. I'll be okay with it. Because there was a point in time I was so legalistic, and it really just double backs on itself when you're like, you shouldn't say the word should. Like, you're literally doing the very thing that you're in opposition to. So
yeah,
it's like, you don't, there's not freedom in that. And so I feel that fully. So we do have, yeah, the 10-minute warning. I love the free Zoom, as I like to say, because it forces me to drop off because I will talk for 10 hours. And I do want
yeah,
to create something intentional with you. And just I'll have the links down below so they can check out all the things that you're creating. I don't know if you want to end it out with just something that would leave people with something tangible, just word of encouragement, actions they can take. I have no clue what's there for you. Open mic, open space. If you want to tap in to show what's biggest on your heart at the moment, I'd love to hear that.
yeah. Thanks, Jenna. So yeah, one of the biggest opportunities I think is there's like deep relational interactions and brief relational interactions. And like the deep ones, it's like people listening know where to go with those
Mhm.
in general. Like obviously they can get some assistance from people of what to do about the deep ones, but they know who is the deep ones to be
Mhm.
with in some ways.
Mhm.
Generally, usually, I think, but the brief ones, this is where there's a fun opportunity to tickle the world everywhere, to flirt with the world everywhere. And
Mhm.
there's a specific point that's like interactions for almost everybody, most, at least once a week, at least most people, it's at least commonly daily. And that's, to me, cashiers.
Mhm.
Cashiers are such interesting points of interaction where either most people are like, how's it going? Good, good. There's just this sort of super shallow, but there's this real person there. So
Mhm.
how to play around with that is,
Mhm.
really, really great. And how to play around with it with sincerity, of where one might be, to me, a cashier can trigger me to be happy, actually.
Mhm.
Not always, but, and if she or he can't, it's an opportunity for me. I found a words that I found, and people can use these, or their own. Um, but if I happen to be noticing that, man, I'm triggered as fuck right now, like, it's possible I might say that, but I probably won't, because the poor young person, like, that's a lot to handle, like. But this is a cool gift for them. It's that, like, if I happen to be, I can't have their question trigger me to be in playfulness. It's like, everyday many emotions. Thanks for asking me. It reminds me it'll probably change soon. It's like, and I'm giving them the clue that, like, emotions are convincing. Like, for me, maybe not for everybody, but for me, when I feel like shit, I think I've always felt like shit, and anytime I felt shiny was a lie, or something
Yes.
like that. And
It's now or never is how I embody my an autistic ADHD experience of, like, the feel is 100% eternal when I have the feel. There's now or there's now there's like now or never maybe is how it shows up. It's just when I
Yeah,
feel it, it is all encompassing. That's all that's ever existed. It's right in the present moment, and there's never been another way, and there can't be another way. And my
yeah,
emotions are
yeah.
the exact same way too. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and my hopes are lies or
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so in the moment, if I can say to, and then I'm giving both of us a tool to remember that, oh yeah, you know, and say something like, I don't know if it's like that for you, but it's like that for me. Like to me, often, most days, there's like periods of like existential, like what the fuck, you know, and then there's also like, wow, I get it, everything, you know. I I I'm not saying that anybody needs to be that way. I
Mhm.
pray that there's people who aren't that way. That's cool for them. God bless them, you know. But for me, it is often that way. So
Mm.
another thing is that with cashiers, you know, obviously, I'd love to hear anybody who finds little keys into how to make that often like kind of forced, brief relational interaction be an uplifting scene for us to
Yes.
infect our society
Yes.
with.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
you
Yes.
know, if I happen to be feeling giddy or something like that, it's really easy for me to be like, you know, best day of my life so far, and
Yeah.
you know, and then like, really, yeah, but I'm kind of getting tired of it. Like, what, you know, yeah, I'm seriously like, what the guy got to do to get a bad day around here, you know? They're
Oh,
like, what is going on? You know, there's this kind of
oh,
cute like playfulness. I'm like, seriously though, like, you know, this place, like humans got no problems around here, you know, everybody speaks so well and everybody's so gracious all the time, you know, and like the religions, they make all the sense, you know, and the politics are so good, and I love the news, you know. And then, you know, and they're like, what? And I'm like, you know, it's kind of like, this is the good news. They're like, what's the good news? I'm like, it's good.
mm,
The good news is good. And they're like, what? And I'm like, spread it, tell people. What's
mm.
the good news? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, it's good. You know,
Good news, it's
and I'm
good.
like, this is sarcasm, this is sincerity, this is silliness.
It's so
This is
good.
telling the truth ahead of time. And so
Yes.
anyway, I'd love to hear if anybody
Oh my
else
gosh.
has any ways
I think
to find that.
this is a project. I'm gonna be my brain's already chewing on it. I'm like, I won't because with We're the Full Spectrum, I have a vision of essentially getting the funding to where I can hire people to be peer counselors and remove the mental health system, that whole thing. Huge vision. Either way, I'm like, we could literally build relationships and retire cashiers off of the planet. Like they're already getting replaced with computers. And I had the idea too of like when I go to do the checkout or whatever, I'm like, I picked you. Could have done the computer and I picked you because I wanted to see what you're up to. And like, how can
Yeah.
you love that person? Because they are having to work today. No one's working just because they want to. Everyone is meeting a survival need because they're working. If they didn't have to work, they wouldn't. We know that. So how can we love the people who are choosing to be in a position to meet their own family's needs or their own needs, however that shows up, and literally have that understanding and empathy of I don't have to go to an 8 to 5. And thank God that I don't, because I couldn't survive in that. And I don't believe our systems were made to survive in that. And so their body is taking on stress and taking on things. And so how can we enlighten their life? How can we brighten their day? We literally can bring energy to them that makes their next hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes better because we showed up. Like we have that kind of power as humans. So I would love to play with literal 1, 2 quips that we could play around and communicate with people. And we have a Dollar General near us. So they are literally timed on their checkout, the one we go to. And so she has to like wait until we have all our things out and it's timed. And so then now I'm like opening the bags for them. So they have it like little things. So it's like, let's do this together. Like I'm gonna work with you to make this easier. And it's just painful to see the system come down on people harder and harder as the attention gets more tense. So this is a really, really exciting thing. And I love the way how simple you made it and that we literally have that kind of power.
Yeah, one more quick little thing that's kind of fun is that when the cashier, when they ask you for sending a dollar or two to a big official charity,
Mhm.
it's kind of a cool opportunity to get, you know, cash back, $5, and then give them the two or the three or the four, and then just say, hey, I have this rule that when they ask me to give money to this big charity that I don't know, I give it to you because I do know you, you know,
Love
like,
that.
and
Oh,
like you do whatever you want with it. I don't, but I think that this might make a more meaningful difference to you than for me to give it to this machine that I don't understand, because I
that
understand that you are right there, you know.
oh my gosh, that's life changing. We're gonna go with that. We're running out of time. We're gonna drop right off. There's my
Okay,
brain's
okay.
going a million directions. We just got started. Thank you, Joey. I'm
Yeah.
so excited for what's next. We're making magic. Big love, peace, love, happiness, always, forever. Hey.